time. Just a reminder, please make sure that your phones are muted so that there'll be no interruptions as we move forward in this dynamic meeting. Again, good evening. At this time, we will have our meeting's official call to order. And at this point, we will have our Toastmaster of the day who will take us forward in the night's wonderful meeting. Okay, fellow Toastmasters. We will now have our agenda with our Toastmaster to move forward.
Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. It is a pleasure for us to be here today, and I'm so glad to see you. And I'm serving as a last-minute Toastmaster of the day. Do excuse any errors. The theme of our meeting is flexibility. Because one thing about Toastmasters, we show up, we are flexible, and we are smart. Having said that, we have already figured out our agenda. And I'm going to explain the meeting segments and introduce the supporting roles. The first that I will call on will be the general evaluator. And that person will tell you what his team will be doing and how the timing will affect each role. General evaluator, would you please come to the lectern? Okay, I'm going to switch roles. And I am now the general evaluator. That's why we are flexible. I'm excited about that word. Let's write it on our forehead. Flexible. Okay. First, could we have the timer explain their role?
Good afternoon, Toastmasters. I am the timer. I will be timing the speeches. Did I say that right?
Could you possibly tell us the timeline for the role?
Unfortunately, she's not been trained in that, so she doesn't know the timeline, so maybe you could tell her.
Okay. Off the top of my head, the timeline for table topics is, Toastmasters, forgive me, but I'm going to ask Karen Bird.
It's 1 to 2 minutes.
Right. If she would go ahead and just give us that information. So this is an unorthodox meeting.
That's okay. The timeline for speakers during table topics should be 1 to 2 minutes. The timeline for a prepared speech should be 5 to 7 minutes. And for for the speech evaluation, it's 2 to 3 minutes. General evaluation and table topics evaluation, I don't have the agenda in front of me, so maybe Bill Moylan could tell what those evaluation times are allotted for.
The evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. And then Karen, your evaluation of topics, we're giving you, was it 4 to 6 minutes?
I think 4 or 5 minutes, yeah.
4 to 5 on that. So for evaluations, green is at 2, yellow is at 2.5, and red is at 3 minutes for the evaluation.
Since Amy's not been trained, she probably doesn't have those colored backgrounds to show. We were all longtime Toastmasters. We'll just go for it and have her tell us what we did.
Okay, because I saw it in the last meeting. So I saw her background, but I just don't know how to.
Well, we're just going to be flexible.
Okay.
That's all. We'll just be flexible today. I have a timer on my phone, so I'll just turn that on when I start.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Toastmaster Dukes and Toastmaster Beard. Thank you for that, assistant. The next person that we have on the team would be the speaker evaluator.
Now,
And-
that's myself, fellow Toastmasters. I'll be evaluating Karen Baird. It's a level 1 speech on body language, Karen, or body language and vocal variety.
I'm going to be using both, so
Okay,
it's
very
definitely
good.
body language.
So I'll be
Definitely
watching for the common things of how I hear her, how I see her, and how I react to her, as well as with special review of her intentional and unintentional body language and how well she uses her voice to project two different feelings. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator / Toastmaster.
Thank you. We're going to save the club business and announcement until after the speaker and evaluation. At this point in time, I would like to call the word master, Toastmaster Dottie Hamilton. I would like to call her to the lectern to give us the word for today.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests, if we have it. I would love to give you the word of the day. I just sent it in the chat, and the word of the day is for us to increase our vocabulary. And when we use the word of the day during the meeting, we will signify it by like this, to let everyone know that you have used the word of the day. The word of the day is prudent. It's an adjective characterized by cautiousness, judiciousness, marked by wisdom, shrewd in the management of practical affairs, discreet. Here's a sentence. As Toastmasters, we always listen to advice prudently. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to hearing the word of the day. I turn it back to Toastmaster of the Day, Hissy Johnson.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hamilton. Now it is time for the most exciting part of our meeting, and that's table topics. Will the table topic master come forward and woe us with your questions?
Okay, thank you, Madam Madam Toastmaster. Table topics, impromptu, it's considered so many different things. Impromptu speaking, thinking on your feet, speaking on your feet, speaking off the cuff, or extemporaneous speaking is one of the 3 main pillars of the Toastmasters meeting. I also put it in the chat too, so for those who are kind of unfamiliar with it, could kind of read it. The purpose of table topics provides you with the opportunity to become more fluent, to think faster, listen attentively and constructively. Madam Timer, is that Toastmaster Karen Baird?
No, it's going to be our guest, Amy Dukes, today.
My apologies. Toastmaster Amy Dukes, would you care to explain I know you're kind of getting familiar with it. Explain the timing rules for table topics, or would you like me to continue?
Toastmaster Karen explained it a little bit as far as the green, red.
Can you see it in the chat?
Yes.
Okay, just go to the chat and it'll start with the green signal.
Okay, a green signal will be turned on at 1 minute. Speaker qualifies for a vote.
That's if it's in a contest or something.
Okay. An amber signal will be turned on at 1 second and 30 minutes. That means plan to wrap it up. A red signal will be turned on at 2 minutes, in which 30 seconds is added to the wrap-up speech and to return control.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll begin with some questions. It's kind of interesting. I stumbled upon something. It says, this things you should have known. Like, I should have known that.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to start with some questions, and you answer the questions as best as you can and tell us why you chose the answer. I'll start right now. What gives wine its red color? What gives wine its red color? We'll start with Toastmaster Hissy.
What I know about red wine is that it's delicious. However, I've heard that it's been made from grapes. I never really give thought about it. I just want to make sure I get a good brand and a good flavor when I'm drinking it. I assume from watching old movies that is beat in a little barrel with bare feet, and then it's grind to a little grinder that they roll with a handle that twirls around, and then the pulp becomes the juice, and then they strain it again and they put it in a jar and sell it to someone like me. That is all that I know about grapes. And I assume that grapes give the wine the flavor. And I'm thinking as I'm talking that in California, they have multiple colored grapes with different flavors. Therefore, they produce different wines. I'm not sure if I'm giving you the correct information, but what I can tell you is that wine is good. Now, that I can tell you. Wine keeps you normal. When things get you a little too frustrated and you want to say those things that you're not supposed to say, you get a glass of wine and you say, "Thank you, Lord," and you kick it back and you relax. You know, in the Bible, Jesus drank wine. So the only origin I know is that it comes from grapes, and hopefully these are clean grapes. The birds have not peed on. But these are grapes that have been, we've got so much of a recall. If they start recalling grapes, I may wonder about the wine that I'm drinking. But what I do know is that wine is good and that it comes from grapes. Thank you, topic master.
Oh, thank you. That was a very entertaining answer. The answer actually is it's the grape skin, the grape skin. All right, next question is, what is the most populous city in Canada with French as the official language? What is the most popular city in Canada with French as the official language? Toastmaster Baird.
Oui, oui. Table topics master, Matt. I don't know that much about Canada, but I do know this. Montreal is a very big, beautiful city where they speak French. Now, I have heard that they do not speak the kind of French that they speak in France. I heard that they have their own French Canadian accent and that people in France poo-poo their accent. Well, I say, oui, oui, my ear, I can't tell the difference. One French person from Canada sounds the same as from France, sounds the same as from Haiti or any place else where they speak it. My ear is not tuned to French, but my ear is tuned to good food. And I know that the French make good food, and a throwback to Hesse, they make good wine. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Baird. You are correct. Montreal is a city where the French is the official language. Next question is, what is the acronym for DIY? What is the acronym for DIY? Toastmaster Liverman? Toastmaster Liverman? Hello? Oh, okay. I'm gonna move back to, I'm gonna skip. Toastmaster Dukes, what is the acronym for DIY?
Good afternoon, Toastmaster Matt. The acronym for DIY is do it yourself. I find myself doing a lot of things myself when it comes to household things, as far as flower arrangements, pictures on the wall, decorating the bedroom, designing clothes, cutting up shirts to make them funky, do it yourself. It's a list of things, jewelry, making earrings. I learned that from my mother. She was very, very well into floral arrangements, Christmas trees. I find myself I want to get a new Christmas tree this year. I find myself changing the colors every year, which she did the same thing when it came to the mantelpiece, when it came to outside, hanging the big wreaths with the lights and the flowers. So DIY is do it yourself.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dukes.
Thank you.
My next question is, on a couple's golden anniversary, how many years of marriage are celebrated? On a couple's golden anniversary, how many years of marriage are celebrated? Toastmaster Hamilton?
I do not have to be prudent in answering this. I just celebrated my golden anniversary. I know the answer. 50 years is a golden anniversary. Yes, it is to be celebrated because that's half a century. And we're so excited because of the fact that a lot of people don't make it to celebrating 50 years. The culture that we live in, sometimes it doesn't work out in the first or second year, statistics will tell us. And we have unfortunate circumstances in which one of the spouses might not be around to help celebrate 50 years. So you're talking about someone who is so excited. Yesterday, on Veterans Day, I turned 76. And that is what I'm excited about, to be able to say on September 28th, 2024, Willie and Dottie Hamilton celebrated 50 years, golden anniversary. So thank you for that wonderful, exciting table topics subject. I turn it back.
Oh, who knew? I just decided to ask you that question, Toastmaster Hamilton. My next question is, what city is considered the birthplace of jazz? What city is considered the birthplace of jazz? Toastmaster Moylan?
Thank you, Madam Topic Master. Fellow Toastmasters and our welcome guest. I would have to say the birthplace of jazz is Nolens, New Orleans, Louisiana. It is an amazing place where how the jazz musicians complement each other and blend it together. If you've never been to New Orleans and you want to go to the Mardi Gras, don't worry. They celebrate it every week of the year, regardless of what month. I had the opportunity to attend and visit New Orleans at different times. We always had a Mardi Gras celebration. I had the opportunity to work with many who were Cajun, or politely Kunas, as they would say in Nolens. One of the interesting things about New Orleans, I will say, with their jazz music, let's say they party 13 and a half months of the year. Kind of the different seasons overlap each other throughout the entire time. Even though there is Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, that doesn't mean they can't celebrate it for 3 to 4 months at a stretch just to make sure they got it out of their system. But a great complement of all this partying is the jazz music that they have, and how places like St. Louis and Chicago, it's where the headwaters would start, and they would take the paddle boats down to New Orleans and then return. So if you haven't been, go to New Orleans, the birthplace of jazz. Madam Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Moreland. Toastmaster Liverman, can you hear me? Huh, he must be studying for something really intense here. Toastmaster Liverman. Okay, well, this concludes the table topics portion of the meeting, and I return control of the meeting to our wonderful Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Hissy Johnson, DTM.
Thank you. Thank you, Table Topic Masters, for those interesting questions and those vibrant questions. Something to make all of us smile. And that's what we need in this day and age, is to be able to smile and celebrate birthdays and 50 years of marriage, which you're going to have to write a book so we can get some information for divorcees like me. But at this time, we're going to go to the most exciting part of our meeting, and that is to hear our prepared speaker, who is going to speak on body language and vocal variety. That kind of sounds like a class, but knowing that it's Karen is going to make it interesting and exciting for us to hear. Karen Burr, please.
Fellow Toastmasters, I'm going to tell you about an activity that I've been involved in. It's relaxing. It's terrifying, all together in one. That activity is one of my favorite activities. It's canoeing. In Michigan, we have such a short window of opportunity to enjoy canoeing. So I try to make sure I do it every year. So how many canoers do we have here today? Oh, then you're in for a treat as I tell you about things that you don't even know about. You see, I've been on 9 rivers here in Michigan. I'm only going to talk about 4 of them, but any place I go, if there's a possibility that I can canoe, I want to do it. It all started when I was a little girl. My dad would take us once a year. When I say us, I mean all 5 of my siblings, to the Asable River in Grayling. Now that river is very slow current, nice sandy bottom. It's a great river for learning to canoe. So that's what I learned on. I learned if you need some momentum in the water, you have to paddle. I learned if you need to turn the front end of the canoe, then you have to rudder in the back. And I learned about balance. You know, that canoe can tip over pretty easy. And I learned you never reach too far, you never stand up. And if you're going to run into an obstacle, whatever you do, don't take your oar and try to stop yourself from hitting it, because all you'll do is hit it and bloop, tip over. Finally, the most important thing I learned on that Asable River, never steer your sister into a spider web. That shrill scream, oh my gosh, I can hear it echoing in my ears today. Now let me tell you about another river that really changed my game. You see, I learned those basics on the Asable. I thought I knew how to canoe. Was I wrong? My college friends invited my husband and me to go on a trip to the Pine River up north in Michigan. Well, see, like I said, I thought I knew how to canoe. This river was full of submerged obstacles. It's in the national forest, all kinds of huge rocks, little rocks, submerged trees actually across the water. And the current was so fast, and it was like a snake, back and forth, back and forth. Oh my gosh, it was terrifying. You know, the river, the rocks in that river are coated on the top. They look like silver. You know why? From all the canoes scraping bottom as they go over. And when you scrape bottom on that rock, guess what happens? Bloop, tumble over. There you go. Doug and I were so terrified on that river. I kept yelling, rock, rock, log, log. But what I really learned is that I learned to trust his piloting in the back. I learned that it was actually better if I just kind of sat down in the bottom of the canoe for ballast and just let him steer it from behind. That was a really fun river to canoe on. Now, let me tell you about the scariest river. You would think that would be the scariest river, but no. The scariest river that I was ever on was the Shiawassee River up near Durand, Michigan. The current wasn't so bad. The thing is, when we got into that canoe and started paddling, what's that over there? It's a tire in the water. Huh, never seen that before. Paddle another tire. Oh my gosh, there's some kind of a steel barrel leaking, I don't know what, into this river. I've never seen anything like it. I thought, is it prudent to even be on this river? It seems like this river is almost like paddling down the Rouge River in the 1970s. I was afraid to step out of the water. I might get tetanus. Who knows? That was a really scary river. Now let me tell you about the most surprising river, and that was the Huron River.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I wonder if any of you have ever experienced this. It's a pretty nice river. It's mostly natural. Some parts are wide and shallow. Some places are narrow with rapids. We were coming up to some rapids and I saw a lady sitting in the rocks of the rapids, and she was naked. Now, I'm not a prude, and I tried not to stare. I tried to be nonchalant, but it was pretty much of a shock. And then as we got a little closer, I noticed, oh, there's lots of naked people over on this riverbank. All colors, all sizes, ages, even families with kids were there, naked. And I found out later that this is actually, yes, an undocumented, unpublicized nude beach. Now, I know you're wondering, where is that on the river? Listen, don't you try to be a voyeur, because they have shut that nude beach down since then when they built a housing development nearby. Now, I could tell you about the other rivers that I've been on, but I'm afraid I would exceed my time. And you know, if you're interested, I could tell you at length about all kinds of rivers, but I suggest, since there's only one of us here that's been canoeing, that you should expand your horizons, get out there in this beautiful state of Michigan with all the rivers that we have to offer, dip that oar into the water and experience canoeing adventures for yourself.
Thank you, Karen, for that adventurous speech. I was floating down the river with you. At this time, we will ask the evaluator. We will need a minute. The timer, can you give us a minute for the evaluator to get themselves together?
Yes.
At this time, I will ask Dr. Mullen, will he evaluate Karen Beer's speech? and only tell us all the good stuff about her speech.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters, our guest, and most of all, Karen. Karen, an exceptional, humorous, informational, and entertaining speech, all rolled into one. Canoeing adventures. First, I really like the way you were able to connect with the audience, both with your visual, with the hands, as well as your voice. You connected with us on both. I also like the way you were able to show us with your hands trees, like an object. You were able to show excitement with it as well, and pointing things out. So it was kind of an interesting interplay of it. Also, when you were also using your vocal variety, and then including the word of the day, prudent, I would say it would be prudent if you were to also then use that thinker pose on it as well when you're thinking about something to kind of better accentuate both the vocal variety with the body language. It was interesting on your organization where you talked about certain rivers, the Osabo, the Pine, the Shiawassee, the Huron, and connected it back to a story. And I think that was truly connecting with the audience, which vocal variety and body language are supposed to do. So high marks on those pieces. Now, some of the things that you could always work on this great speech to help it improve. A pause. You got us excitement and show us the fear, but not speak. So using those pregnant pauses can work well. Also, like coming upon a new beach, simply that with telling us that you're surprised, show us surprise. The other two, and having been a bit of a canoeer back in my Boy Scout days, I thought for sure you were going to show us paddling in different types of strokes, the J stroke, the other parts of pieces, but that never quite came. But overall, truly enjoyed your canoeing adventures and look forward to other connecting with both humor, vocal variety, and body language as you proceed on this canoeing path. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you for that evaluation. Well, we've had a flexible meeting so far. Do you all agree?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Now we're going to go to the portion where it really is the most important part, because we're going to have our table topics evaluation.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So in this club, we have a unique item of evaluating table topics. So today we had an excellent table topics theme of things everyone should know, or common knowledge that, do you know it or don't you? Everybody was able to respond except for Dr. Bill Liverman. Dr. Bill, can you hear us now?
Perfect. I apologize. Had a little glitch, but loud and clear.
Okay, you missed your opportunity on table topics. We called you out, but you were glitching. So anyway, getting back to the table topics evaluation, everybody had that opportunity, and fortunately, nobody was blanking out and had no idea of those common knowledge items, because if they did, they'd have to just make it up. Everybody, I feel, did a great job on personalizing the answers to the table topics. For instance, Hessie, she told us not only why wine was red, but she told us how much she enjoyed it, for instance. Amy Dukes told us not just that she knew what DIY was, but all the ways she incorporated DIY. And Dottie, same with the 50-year anniversary, personalized it. I think that is the key to having interesting presentation is having your personal story exposed, so that's how you connect with people.
Mhm.
That's why, and likewise with my answer about Montreal, I wanted to give something that you could connect with. Because I assume probably nobody here can tell one French accent from another, but we can tell it's French, and so those are the things that draw people in. Good job. Let's keep making sure that when we do table topics, that we always start out with an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, just like any speech, and to add that inclusive story.
Thank you. Thank you. Toastmaster Beer. At this time, we will ask our odd counter from Marion to explain their role and give their report.
That's me?
No, that's Bill Liverman.
Yes. Oh, all right. Yes, we're good to go now. Good again. Good afternoon. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. At this point, my job was to evaluate the speakers, and at the same simultaneously be prudent in terms of minimizing certain words, eliminating certain words, and that whole process. So basically, everyone did an overall great job. Yeah, but I just want to kind of point out a couple of things in terms of this whole process. Well, once you hit 75, my doctor said, be sure you wear your reading glasses when you hit when you hit that major age. Well, here's a good job. However, there were let me say this: when you're speaking, the way that I put this, my science brain on real quick. Sometimes your brain works faster than the words. So what happens to compensate for that? You have these filler words where, in other words, the brain is saying you hear, but what you're saying is a little slower. So the filler words comes in to compensate for the faster moving brain. And let's see, I was guilty. Here, so you had one and, one but, and one so. Karen, good job. You had one noun. Amy, you had one so. Good job, Bill Moore. You had one but. Karen, one so, and one noun. So overall, if you're looking at the speaker, I think everyone did a great job. As moving forward, being more prudent, we can get to the point where what happens. You can eliminate all, but in the process, I was very excited. Again, I apologize. My glitch was my technology was going in and out, but either way, I was recording what I was able to hear, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Liverman. Could the timer now give us report on all our participants?
Okay, good afternoon, good evening, Toastmasters. We're going to start with Miss Hiss. Am I saying it right? Hissy? Okay. She had 1 minute and 55 seconds. Mr. Toastmaster Bill, 1 minute and 41 seconds. Miss Dottie, 1 minute and 37 seconds. Miss Karen, 58 seconds. Myself, 1 minute and 16 seconds. We have the prepared speaker, which was Toastmaster Karen. That was 6 minutes and 45 seconds. The speech Toastmaster Bill evaluator, that was 2 minutes and 43 seconds. The evaluation of table topics, Toastmaster Karen, that was 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And Toastmaster Elder, that was for the word counter, that was 1 minute and 34 seconds. Am I missing anything?
Thank you. Thank you. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Very briefly, I'm going to say, I think we had a great meeting that was flexible, that was exciting, and was knowledgeable. For those who don't know me personally, I stutter. So sometimes my words come out as I've been told that the beginning of the word is strong, the end of the word is weak. So for anyone that I mispronounce the word or mispronounce your name, understand that I am pausing, I am trying to think, and then I'm trying to formulate to pronounce that word. I just want to throw that out there. So that you understand if I make a mistake on your name or something, it's not because I'm not trying to pronounce it correctly. Overall, I think we had a great meeting. There are a couple things that we need to do. And the first one is, did we have any guests that wanted to be recognized? Ms. Dukes, I understand from listening to you that this may be your second meeting. Am I correct?
I think this is my, is this my third? This
I
might be
think
my
this is your third.
Okay,
third.
this is your
Yes.
third.
Yes.
Well, as a timer today, very briefly, can you tell us what you experienced and how you felt about it?
I felt really good, nervous, but I'm proud of myself. I did good. I was a little nervous though, but I did good. Thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you for coming, and we're looking forward to you. You said you sent your papers in, so you're a member.
Yeah, I sent them in, and they should have had them.
Well, we're not gonna call you a guest no more. So
Yes,
for next
ma'am.
week, Dr. Molan, you can get her on the agenda
Yep.
because she's a member now. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to either Karen or Dr. Molan for any comments or any reports that need to be
Yes,
turned
thank
over
you
to
very
the
much.
club.
You see, let's look at the agenda for next week. I rolled over Anthony Gore to do his icebreaker next time.
Okay.
And then Amy, we could put you down as doing your icebreaker. Don't be afraid. You've been working on the speech your entire life. Just tell us about Amy and you'll be fine. Or we could have you the following meeting, which would be on December the 10th on that. I'm already scheduled to speak at that particular meeting. Let's go back to the 26th of November. Anyone interested in a role? Well, I'll be sending this out for people's doing. I will not be able to be with you. I noted that at the bottom. I'll be in Portugal working with the Fuller Center on completing the finished construction of a 6-family apartment complex
Mm.
in Tilam outside of Braga, Portugal.
I'd like to be I'd like to be an evaluator.
Okay, very good. We'll have Karen, we will have you evaluate Anthony's speech. How's that?
That's great.
I also volunteer to be an evaluator. Do you need another evaluator, Bill?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for table topics.
Yes, I will volunteer for that role.
Okay.
I can do the odd counter, the grammarian. Let me say that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to list you as guest. How's
Okay.
that?
That's
so
fine.
you'll know. You'll know Amy, right? Okay. Anyone else?
I also do you have a word master for that meeting during a word master?
Okay, Bill, I'll put you down that as well.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll be sending this out immediately after the meeting on that. And one of the things I would like to mention, because it happened to me, and that is the new version of Pathways. There's some changes to it. People choosing paths now, there's only 6 as opposed to 11. If you're working on a path that has been discontinued, you will be able to finish it. They're not cutting you off. But if it's one that you're working on and it's one of the 6 that they have, they've added some new features, such as, and the speech I'm going to be giving in the 10th comes from persuasive influence. And Karen, when I was preparing for that speech, and they wanted to know when I was going to do it, the other pieces with it, it allows me to choose an evaluator if one was already that. And then did you receive the evaluation form as an email attachment?
I'll have to check when did you do that?
I'll go back and check. I can send it to you again, but it's kind of an interesting feature. Let's see if I can pull it up quick. And it's kind of an interesting piece to it. It's clicking in the background. Another thing which is going to happen, I know this because I had to schedule the room for it, or rooms. There will be the District 28 Toastmasters Leadership Institute, TLI. That will be on January 25th. That's a Saturday, and that'll be at Lawrence Tech.
So Bill, that would be, so there'll be, the TLI would not be virtual.
Well, let me put it this way. There is the technology able to do it hybrid. So I had to schedule the main room with the 6 breakout rooms. They're all web enabled. So I'll leave it up to our program quality director, Jerome Mabin, to decide if it's going to be in person or hybrid.
And what is the time? Generally, it starts at 8.
I'll put it this way. I scheduled the rooms from 7:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
It's from 8 to 12.
So if it's 8 to 12, that sounds good. Thank you, Hissy.
Right.
You see, I just know what the information I got. I can be there at 7:30. No, that's when the room's open.
And I did attend the deck meeting. I have to verify it for my memory purposes, but I do believe that it's going to be virtual.
Virtual?
Hybrid.
Yeah. Hybrid. Oh, okay. Hybrid. Okay.
Yes.
Are there any other comments or questions that we need to ask?
I would like to make sure that everyone knows that we have 2 more meetings left for this year. So we'll meet on November 26th, and then for December, we only have the first meeting in December. That will be December 10th, and then we'll be off until January 14th. So we have a long time because of the way the calendar falls. It's 5 weeks in between December 10th and January 14th. And the reason I point this out is if anybody has any goals they want to meet in this year, if you want to plan ahead for making sure that you get your speeches in, or any other activities you want to get done this year, we have 2 more opportunities to do it. Else, we can start planning for next year.
Okay, I'd like to share my screen right now. And this is one of the changes in Pathways. Right now, this is where I'm at the point, as I mentioned, this is part of this persuasive influence. It's the leading in difficult situations. And they have the know, wonder, and learn. You can set your own goals for it. But then you see here, I'm adding the details of my speech, getting members to speak regularly at MetroMasters Club meetings. The date's December 10th. The club is MetroMasters. When I chose that club, it gave me a drop down. Karen, I chose you, and I've already scheduled you. But then you see the evaluation form, which I could choose, leading in difficult situations, and then I give you an attempt. So I'm going to save and email this to you again,
Okay,
and then be watching for that with it. Also, Karen, I'll send you additional information on this. It will be a role play exercise. I
oh,
will have a well-written speech about my plan of how to make this happen. But that night, the Toastmasters are going to have to give me like twice the amount of time. And I'll
okay.
leave it at that. A little bit of mystery to
Mhm.
this presentation. Has everyone ever done this particular project?
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
Yes. Then Karen, you know what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
I do. I do know what you're
Okay,
talking about. It's
I'll
fun.
send you the information and we can talk offline
Mhm.
about
No,
that.
go ahead and talk now. Let the
No,
secrets out.
no,
Mm-mm.
we
It'll
want
be a
you to be
surprise.
surprised.
Don't be afraid. Go ahead and tell us.
It's going to be a
No,
surprise.
no, 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 no. You got to watch and see what happens. So,
Mhm.
Okay.
because but please understand, on the 10th, we want you to be there to the end of the meeting before you decide to quit the club. If this is the way we're going to treat each other. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order and the good of the club?
Yes, Toastmaster Moreland, I noticed it said like wonder, WOND. What does that entail? Wonder, wonder.
Well, it says here, for example, I wonder what strategies to apply when facing adversity. No, I know how to be resourceful, flexible, and positive when facing challenges. Learned. For example, I learned the value of a positive attitude when leading a team through a challenging situation. So it's an interesting way for a member to set goals for themselves within each project and then measure themselves on those pieces. So it's an interesting reflective learning that they're really pushing a lot more.
Is the wonder like the new skills or the
Yes,
concepts that you're trying to grasp?
correct. And you can add your own
Mhm.
list of what type of goals you're trying to get from this particular project.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well,
Any-
if there's no other comments, I'm going to say very quickly, may be a little repetitious, but I'm also going to say from the point of Area Director 2 that I think the meeting was well exercised. I think everyone was flexible. And I like the energy. I also like the fact that you have a pre-planned agenda, seems like for the next, till the end of the year. Actually, I don't necessarily know if I will be attending all the meetings, but I'm very impressed by the format of this club. And I just wanted to inspire you to continue because you make an example for some of the other clubs. And believe me, some of the clubs need help. And there are some faces here that I have seen from last year. Appreciate your commitment and your loyalty. And I am proud to know you. I am proud to be a Toastmaster. And I was Toastmaster the other day. I wasn't expecting to be that. But if you don't mind, I'm going to turn it over to Karen for any last words because she is one of the veterans as well as Dr. Molan. That the club may need. Other than that, I'm going to wish all of you a fantastic month, a fantastic holiday. Hope you have good food and good cheer until the end of the year.
Thank you, Hesse. I don't think I have any further comments to make, except that I agree. I think this was a great meeting. I always approach the meeting as there's something to learn, and I really feel like everybody should have some takeaways from the meeting. I think this fit the bill.
Yes.
And speaking of Bill, let me ask our two Bills. Bill Liverman, any final comments?
One final comment. I was watching TV. I made this real brief. I was watching a TV program last week, And a lot of people don't realize that some people have been virtual for 4 years. In other words, they've been working virtually, and as we approach the new year, some companies, people are gonna have to go back to work face to face. Mm-hmm. So I read some articles that basically people say I need to get up to on my communication skills. And I was thinking about this, that moving to 2025, I think it'll be a great time for some of these people who are looking to go back to face, to guess what? Join Toastmasters, mm-hmm. and to kind of elevate those skills.
Yes. Yeah.
Just a thought.
I would add, these were all very prudent words of wisdom.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes.
Amen. Amen.
Well, if we are through with our comments and our questions and our roles, then I'm gonna call this meeting to adjourn.